Hi, my name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED, and this is Q5 Ham Radio. About a year ago, I had a conversation with a young operator from Maine who already seemed to have an old soul for radio. At just 14 years old, Seth Jones NU1D had his extra class license, a passion for contesting, and a curiosity about the hobby that felt well beyond his years. Since then, Seth hasn't stood still. Over the past year, he's been on the air in major contests, CQ Worldwide, ARRL 10, IARU, ARRL Sweepstakes, steadily building both scores and operating experience. And now he's taken another big step, traveling to St. Lucia to operate from Bill Schmidt's J68HZ's J62K multi-op contest station during CQ WPX single sideband. Q5 is proudly supported by DX Engineering, helping radio amateurs build the stations that make moments like this possible. Seth, welcome back to Q5.
I'm good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing well. I was realizing as I was setting up the computer that the last time we interviewed, I was actually in Turks and Caicos getting prepared for the WPX single sideband contest. And a year later, you're on your way to St. Lucia to participate at J62K. Pretty exciting.
Yes, very exciting. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit.
So I'm going to dive into that in a second, but you've had a busy year. You've competed in a lot of contests. You were at Field Day here in Maine. I think you did Winter Field Day. One of the contests you did was a remote with WW4LL. Tell me a little bit about the contesting experiences and the variety you've had this past year.
After our call last February in 2025, a lot started to happen. I started getting into CW and participating in a lot of those contests. Fred reached out to me, I think it was in April of that year, last year. And he asked, hey, do you want to do a remote op with me and a bunch of other guys? One of them was Jake WV4AM, who's been on here before. And that was for the IARU DX contest, which would happen over the summer. So after some time getting set up at home, I participated in a remote operation with Fred and his team, which was a lot of fun. We did quite well. And then I had started to pick up a bunch of CW skills over the summer, leading up to that fall. And the next big one I was looking to do was CQ Worldwide, both phone and CW. So phone I did really, really well. I got more than 4 times my goal in Q count and points, which went very, very well. And then the CW contest for CQ Worldwide in November, we actually had gotten back late from some Thanksgiving plans in New Hampshire, and I wanted to see what I could do after missing maybe half the contest, and I ended up with maybe 500 Qs or something. So very solid, very good. All low power from home, with limited antennas. So I've done very, very well, and more contests leading up to now. I've done NAQP sprints, the ARRL DX CW contest recently. I've done CWTs, as much as I can get myself into. I'm just trying to keep myself involved and especially prepare for the upcoming WPX contest down in St. Lucia.
So tell me more about the station you've been using this past year at your house.
It's a Yaesu 897, older radio. A lot of issues that do come up in logging softwares or just internal settings I have to always be figuring out. Whether it's external equipment like wind keys or tuners or whatnot. So it's always low power for me. It's always been low power so far, just 100 watts. For all the CW contests I've done up to this point, they've all been done through manual keying. So I have not been able to use an auto sender from a logging program like M1MM or something. So it's been busy. In fact, my desk here has a lot of chip marks from the keyer itself, so it gets beat up, but it's a good radio. And the headset I use that I got for a bunch of the phone contests, it's a Heil ProSet 6, so it works a lot better than a hand microphone, which I was using for a long time. So that's kind of the rundown of the station, and the antenna's just a G5RV dipole up outside around 40 feet off the ground.
So what are the things that you have learned over the past year with your contest participation?
I've learned to get involved as much as I can, stay focused, enjoy it, always have fun. It's challenging at times, especially depending on your station or how the bands are looking, but definitely stay involved, have fun, and compete.
Experience with WW4LL was remote. I think it was a multi-2. What were the lessons that you learned in that experience?
Remote is a lot different from operating from home from a fixed station. So learning to use other equipment, understanding you're in a different part of the world if you're operating remote you may not be in a different part of the world, but the station is. So you understand that kind of propagation, what to expect for, the contest itself. Who's calling you? Are you high power? Are you low power? Are you a multi-op? What skills can you kind of hone into using for that contest with the environment you're put in and what you're given to use?
So now you have an opportunity for your first in-person multi-op down at J62K. That's super exciting. I remember when you first sent me the text that there was a chance you might go down there. I was very excited for you. Tell me about that process. What was that like to apply for that and get accepted?
Right around the time of the IARU contest with Fred and his team, I received an email from Chavis WA4PGM. It was linked with Yoda, Youth on the Air, and the opportunity that J62K was providing for youth ops to come down there. So after receiving that email, I started writing an essay. I got my application in. The same day I sent it in, they wrote back, Kyle wrote back, and so did Bill. They said, "This looks great. Feel free to join us on our weekly Zoom calls so you can meet the team, we can meet you, your parents." So I was like, this sounds pretty solid. So we started to join those Zoom calls weekly. They're on Thursdays, and we still meet each week. And after, I think it was about 2 months, because I think I received, that was about a month and a half. I received that final note of you're coming down, because they have to narrow it down to a selection of few youth operators, and then they select 2. So after being selected, after a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of information, a lot of things to exchange, a lot of things to begin to understand about what to expect, and actually getting my parents to understand, wow, you're actually going to St. Lucia to operate in a contest as part of a youth and ham radio experience. So it started with a couple emails, and now it's down to you're going to an international location to participate in a major contest.
And I think I know the answer to this, but is this the first time you've operated outside of the country?
It's the first time I've operated outside of the country, and the first time I'll be traveling outside of the country.
Congratulations. This is going to be quite an experience. As someone who's been there at J62K, Bill does such a great job. He's got a great station, but there's a lot of hospitality and camaraderie, so I know it's going to be fantastic. What are you most nervous about with that trip?
I feel like I'm more excited than nervous, but there are some things I do keep in mind. One of those is understanding, anything could happen. An antenna could break, propagation could be really, really bad.
And I know Kyle's very good about putting a schedule together in advance. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't got the operating schedule, but they have let me know that they got us shirts. So Kyle's on top of everything. And, he's invited me out with him to go to Dayton this year. I don't know if that's going to happen. He's also invited me to go to VP9 in Bermuda to operate with him over the summer. So he's got a lot of opportunities, especially, the big J62K experience. Him and Dan and Bill, all the guys, they seem on top of their stuff.
The doors are opening up for you. That's just fantastic. Who else is going to be on the team during the WPX?
I'll start with, the main 4 guys, the St. Lucia Contest Club. It's going to be Bill, K9HZ or J68HZ, Kyle WA4PGM, Dan W0CN, and Franz J69DS. And then the other youth operator who was selected is Kylie, KE0 WPA from Minnesota. So a great team of operators, and Kylie's dad, Randy ND0C. So we'll have 7 operators in total. Yes, my dad's coming down, but he's not a ham. So 8 people in total, but it's going to be a lot of fun. 7 operators, a strong team. I think we'll be able to put up a very, very solid effort.
Seth, as a young ham who has done a tremendous amount in just 1 year, what's your best advice for other young ham radio operators?
Just get involved, have fun, learn new things, ask other people, get mentors, find Elmers, go to other people's stations, learn about ham radio experiences amongst other people. Just get involved, jump right in. Don't be afraid to explore, reach out, and find what your passion is within the hobby.
So switch gears for a second. You and I live in Maine. How involved have you been in the Maine ham radio club community?
As much as I can. I don't have my driver's license yet, so getting around is a little bit of a challenge. So I definitely thank my parents for taking me to Hamfest or Field Day down in Southern Maine with you and our club there, getting around to, local YCCC meetings with those Southern hams. So my experience with, the Maine ham radio, even though Maine is, it's a big state, but it doesn't have a ton of ham radio involvement. There's a lot of operators, but, active amongst the Maine ham radio community is relatively small. So I hope to, as a youth operator, grow that at some point. But my experiences with that are just getting around, exploring it and experiencing all the different aspects of that as much as I can.
Seth, I know you follow the contest crew and the contest community in general. You're really great about learning from whatever source you can. Is there any particular contester that you aspire to be more like?
Well, that's a big question. Obviously, there's the big guys, K5ZD, Randy, and Dan, and Chris. I don't know if there's a specific contester I aspire to be, but I aspire to be as big and loud and as strong as those guys have become within their contesting experience, going all over the place to operate in major contests, 48 hours straight for the big ones. So I don't know if there's a specific one I look up to. I look up to all of them. I take notes. They're mentors, they're Elmers. I learn from them. I pick up strategies from them.
And do you have time for anything else within ham radio other than contesting? I know you did a little bit of Parks on the Air for a while. Are you doing anything other than contesting?
I like going out portable, Parks in the Air as much as I can. I also like building stuff. I want to get into building more of my own equipment. I think that could really be helpful, especially as a contester. A lot of the study material that you have to learn or memorize or use for the testing when getting your license is also important. That kind of science and math behind it, it's important, especially in my schooling now, so I can take what I've learned from ham radio and apply it to other aspects of possible future jobs or careers. So definitely diving into what I can take from ham radio and use those experiences to understand more about other aspects of the hobby besides contesting.
I know it's early, you're still in high school, but is your ham radio experience affecting your plans for college or your plans after high school at all?
I wouldn't say affecting, but it's definitely inspiring for possible jobs or careers. The electrical concepts of it are making me curious about, do I want to go into electrical engineering? A lot of hams do electrical engineering, something in the science field, the medical field, that, or going into trade school after high school, just looking into that kind of stuff. I think last time we met, I was talking about careers definitely related to ham radio.
Well, Seth, I really appreciate you joining me today. I'm going to look forward to hearing you on the air during WPX. As you know, I'll be down at Cayman Brac at ZF5T. I don't know if that's going to be my call sign yet or not, but I will be listening for J62K for sure.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to get you guys on hopefully 6 bands.
My name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED. I've been talking to Seth NU1D. You will hear him on the CQ WPX single sideband in late March at J62K. 73.